Imagine from nothing, you get the universe as we see it, and the world we're in, of course, and the incredible body that we have. Nothing. Isn't that just bewilderingly awesome? You know, you can say, well, it evolved. Yes, but from nothing. And are we saying, no, there was always eternally something? It's just been refashioned and it evolves into this. Well, that's hardly any different, is it? It's still fantastically fantastic. Everything about the universe and the body is design. Fantastic complexity. I mean, absurd. I mean, as we understand it, the human cell is just fantastic. The universe itself is just in dimensions, is just beyond staggering. And if designed, who's the designer? We're strongly struck, I think, by the awesome, awesome, awesome possibility of God. And that's fantastically fantastic as well. We are awestruck, simply that. To experience this existence, ourselves and the universe, well, it's just utterly beyond us that it can exist. But it does. I mean, it quite simply cannot evolve from nothing. That is just beyond acceptance. And if made or planned, then the maker, God if you like, is just shatteringly awesome. But he should be. We're just overcome, you see, we should be, with the enormity of the situation that we find we're in. That is. And it should instill in us, I want to say surely, a staggering reverence. As regards knowing and understanding We're less than children against such establishment of what is. If this has happened from nothing, well, anything could be the case. Our notion of the possibility of God fills us with wonder. The miraculous is overwhelmingly commonplace. And my belief utterly unlimited in the face of such evidence. I am overwhelmingly humbled by my ignorance of how this can be, such that I'm ready to believe anything. The miraculous, the magical, perhaps that it's all thought, perhaps it's something utterly beyond thought that I've no conception of. For I have no conception of how all this could be from nothing, or even what nothing means. I mean, does it have dimension? Does nothing have substance? That's not nothing, is it? The whole, just the observation of such should fill us with a humility of realizing we do not understand. And from this we have an incredible freedom as regards what we choose to understand. And that's why myths and fables have been so persuasive on us, because any ideas, that even ideas and thoughts should exist, it's beyond our comprehension, other than the fact they seem to exist. It all just seems to exist. And even if it were just a seeming only, with no substance, how could it be experienced? How could we be a being that experiences? How can it all come about? So we are left with an absolute freedom of guessed explanation. Now, how do we handle this? Well, we take the one that we find most favourable. I mean, would you take the one that was unfavourable? Well, there's no real means of selecting one or another with any degree of certainty. So take the one that seems to be best in consequence, as you see it, in living. Well, that's simple then. It's all made and run by a wonderful God that loves me. Have I proved it? No. Do I find this is more serviceable than any other belief? Well, yes, I do. From your point of view, do you? Well, you can only practice and see. Believe this and believe other things and then choose. Are you going to believe an infinite set of possibilities? You don't have infinite time. So you glance at least at what other people believe and take to yourself the belief that you find most promising, most favourable from your experience of living so far to date. And see the consequence of such. Tweak it, see if you find improvement or you're not sure. But possibly. Well, let's practice that then. Do you see, it's very pragmatic, but it is still belief. There is no knowing. If John's gospel were right in that this is life eternal to know thee, the only true God, perhaps there is a possibility of doing so. Is knowing through reason or through experience? There is no knowing at all except for experience. For without experience, I don't have the logical structure to know anything. I must start from a position of experience. So you start to know the path to the solution of what's best to trust. Taste and see. It's by experience. That of others and yourself. Which others? Well, those that you know as opposed to those that you don't know. You could add to it by getting to know some unusual people of different views, different religions, different cultures. But you might not understand them in that you have no experience really of their culture compared to your own. So from where you are, you choose accordingly and see what's best and hope you don't make some fatal mistake en route, else life ends. Or even then you might hope that in some sense there's reincarnation. You keep getting more chances till you get it right. And in a sense, any theory is up for grabs. And the theory you choose is the one that you find works for you for the best, as far as you can see. It's as simple as that. Wow. And I want to say thank you, Heavenly Dad. Because such seems to accumulate assurance and hope and peace of mind, all of which seem to be very necessary to my well-being. So I do. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.
I'll just add a note here. I thought that there are rules of thumb, aren't there? I mean, the more experience to the elder is probably a better place to start in general. So we start with parents. That's the rational, isn't it? They're the nearest to elders we have, unless we got grandma and granddad, you know. they can at least tell you that their way was wrong, and they may have found certain bits of their way that are definitely right. And then we can look around, we can see who seems to be going the way you appreciate. Do they seem kind? Do they seem happy? Do they seem loving? Do they seem peaceful? Are they always at war, arguing, fighting? You can tell, can't you? Right. You listen to one and not the other rather better, rather more closely, because they're looks more hopeful of going the right way, doesn't it? And you do your own research, so to speak. You read. You watch the effect of your reading. Or in modern terms, you follow on, say, YouTube or something similar. And you watch the effect. I mean, in a trivial way, does something like TED Talks improve your life or not? Whatever it is you're following, so-and-so's preaching or something, okay, if that's what you think might be the way, taste and see. If not, flip over to something that's more to your values, I would say. You might say, no, I want to comb all values and choose. You may be going rather a long time, but I guess you get the idea of what you like and what you don't quite quickly. So one can be rational in our search. And even with the experience of life, you start to realize it's important to know, in a sense, who you are. And by know, I don't mean that. I mean trust, find out, check it. See what really is likely to be for the best as you see it in the uncertainty of living. So, it's not rocket science. So it's a very straightforward procedure, isn't it? And there's lots to choose from. So you learn to choose wisely. Bless you. And I mean, from my narrow point of view, which I think is all expensive, of course, but, from my point of view, I think God will lead you. I don't think my God has any failures, and He loves you. That's what I'm sticking to. Do I know? No, I don't know. I trust. Why do I trust? Because it seems to be the most beneficial. What do you think? Thank you, Heavenly Dad.